following a swarm of accusations and allegations among some of Hollywood's biggest names, in this case, Black Hollywood. Atlanta rapper T.I., along with his wife Tiny, have been accused of drugging, sexually assaulting, abusing, trafficking, and even kidnapping by many women all up and down these ATL streets. Now, this doesn't come as a shock to many who knew of the rapper and his other antics before his TV show, T.I. and Tiny's Family Hustle, which debuted on VH1 in 2011, depicting him as a loving family man. But let Tiny's once upon a time BFF, Shakina, tell it, and oh, did she tell it. Clifford, aka Tip, aka T.I., wasn't as vibrant and charming as he'd make himself appear to be on camera. The allegations come after an associate of both T.I. and Tiny, Sabrina Peterson, made what seemed to be an out-of-the-blue Instagram post, accusing T.I. of placing a gun to her head and threatening her life as well as sexually assaulting her. Following the claims, she'd go on to reveal a wave of other alleged incidents that took place between T.I., Tiny, and other alleged victims. The events happened over a span of 15 years, and it's been reported that 17 to 30 women have come forward detailing their assaults, but shocking revelation of Sabrina's past were brought to the forefront. Example being the horrendous slandering of her ex, leaving many shocked and questioning her entire story. This one right here will throw you for a loop, so try to stay with me. Now, if you know anything about T.I. and Tiny, then it's no secret that they like to engage in certain activities, if you get my drift, amongst multiple women, sometimes at the same time. No harm there, right? As long as it's legal, eh? By all means, that's their business. Things start to get a little, when we hear about drugs being taken during events and parties. Although yes, very much illegal and high-key dangerous, I wouldn't say it's out of the norm. Well, what about making sure someone else swallows the pills you gave them as sort of like a routine check? Allegedly, this is what T.I. was doing to the girls he had met out on a night partaking in Atlanta shenanigans. But before I go even deeper into those allegations, let's take it back to Sabrina Peterson. Sabrina was the first woman and main accuser in the case against T.I. and his wife. In late January, she had posted what appeared to be a cryptic Instagram post claiming that T.I. had placed a gun to her head a while back and that he had allegedly performed non-consensual sexual acts on her. Although the entire ordeal may seem to have come out of absolutely nowhere. And for the why now folks all the way in the back, during an interview on Hollywood Unlocked, she had said that the reason for the post was due to a carjacking she had experienced recently in Atlanta. A sliding, as they call it in ATL, where someone slides into the driver's seat while the initial driver of the vehicle pumps gas. In this case, Sabrina says she was helping a friend pump air into her tires after an event when someone had pressed a gun to her head, demanding her to exit the vehicle as a thief sped off. When many people present, I might add, the incident triggered a once suppressed memory and the IG post came about. As for the reason why T.I. allegedly put a pulled gun on her was because she had been fighting a female assistant who was treating Tiny like a quote-unquote slave. In other words, she was defending Tiny from BS. In response to Sabrina's accusation, T.I. denied any and all allegations, and Tiny even commented under a post saying, "You want your abusers to train your sons? He was just an uncle for 2 years. Stop harassing my fam. You're strange. Everybody knows you are special. Leave us alone." In response to Tiny's response, Sabrina took to her IG Live to air out all their little business and said that T.I. had pulled a gun on her on several occasions. She went on to say that she was trying to be a friend to Tiny since Tiny was always crying and ranting about being cheated on 24/7, and that she never thought once to call the cops or create a case since she knew T.I. was on probation and wasn't about that snitching life. She also claimed that T.I. and Tiny's kids also called her auntie, and that the post of her referring to TIP as uncle was years ago, so it holds no weight now. After the live show, Sabrina took to her IG story and posted multiple accusations allegedly sent to her by multiple women claiming to have been assaulted or abused in some way. One allegation says that T.I. had met a girl and a friend during All-Star Weekend. VIP was upstairs and everyone else was downstairs. She claims that he had pressured her to take drugs and do stuff with some of his entourage, knowing that her friend was 15 and she herself was only 16. Another accusation claims that T.I. had forced a woman, 20, into swallowing a pill and taking a powdered substance. Eventually, she became drugged and could not fully or consciously consent. Another and more bizarre allegation claims that she was trafficked in Nevada by the couple. Another said that T.I. and his crew forced their way into her home and kidnapped her husband. Of course, there's more accusations, but we'd be here all day if I were to go into specifics about every single one. All in all, drugs seem to be the occurring factor in the majority of them. Mind you, these were all posted to Sabrina's story, and the majority of these ladies have yet to be identified. In response to these accusations, T.I. responded with an 8-minute video and said that whatever it was he and Tiny have done was consensual on all sides. We ain't never forced nobody. We ain't never drugged nobody against their will. We ain't never held anybody against their will. We ain't never made nobody do anything. During the midst of all the chaos, Shakina Joe, Tiny's former best friend for those of you who didn't know or quite frankly didn't care, took to her Instagram live and in true Shakina fashion, she spilled. Not only did she say Sabrina was telling the full story, but she even accused Sabrina of sleeping with T.I. and Tiny and recruited women for them. This comes after the knowledge of knowing that Sabrina had been running her mouth about Shakina, accusing her of being a bad friend to Tiny for not putting the paws on Bernice Burgos, aka T.I.'s side piece, when he was messing around with her. Shakina accused Sabrina of being jealous of her and Tiny's friendship and insinuated that an ulterior motive was behind the accusations. I forgot to mention that also during her Hollywood Unlocked interview, Sabrina had stated that T.I. tried to put a hit out on her following these allegations. How did she find out? Apparently a man came up to her and told her that Tip had paid him $25,000 to push Sabrina off of a building. Now, this is where the plot really thickens. After some online investigating and public snooping, people began to do some digging and came across information tying Sabrina to a murder investigation of her very own. The story goes something like this. While dating a married man, allegedly, along the way he decided to break things off with Sabrina. And I guess Sabrina wasn't feeling that because not too long after, she'd accused the man of giving her HIV. She made sure to let the entire world, including the other planets, know that this man had given her a sexually transmitted disease. Meanwhile, the man was actually STD free. Now this next part is about to really throw you for a loop. The guy gets married and not even 2 full weeks later was found dead in his home, and Sabrina would be stamped as a person of interest. Y'all still with me? I hope so. In early 2022, Shakina had taken to her IG Live yet again, but this time, instead of blasting Sabrina, she'd blast T.I. and Tiny, spilling the whole can of beans. She said that T.I. was a mean person and that he never liked her and vice versa, along with Tiny never being a true friend. Safe to say, the two fell out and as of today aren't on speaking terms. As far as you and I know, the case involving some, not all, of these allegations have been dropped. Until this day, no one knows if any of these allegations are in fact true or if the truth lies somewhere in the middle. One thing is for sure regarding these allegations, Sabrina says everybody, with a capital everybody, knows. So take that and do with it as you will. Who do you think is telling the truth? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below.